网址 APTS 网址。
Hello, everybody. Here we go.
Okay, please sit and
thank you so much. Thank you. Good afternoon.
So thank you all for waiting. Today we are very glad that Prime Minister Boris Johnson would like to take some time in his very busy schedule to meet with the press. So we'll go right straight into the questions. Please raise your hand so that I can see you and identify yourself. In order to save the time, that I'll collect several questions together for the Prime Minister to answer.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
So
we'll take as many as you like.
Okay. And we have been advised that due to Prime Minister Johnson, he's been scheduled. He needs to leave at 3:50. So any time that after 3:50, we have to conclude it. So right now, raise your question, raise your hand so that I can identify yourself. Okay, first you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, in this order. Yeah.
Hello, Prime Minister.
Hello.
And here.
Please
This
stand up.
is a question from Malta Television. And you have Din Tai Fung last night, and I read you're quite curious about Taiwan cuisine. And any other dishes you are looking forward to trying in Taiwan?
Okay,
next one. You, right.
Next one. No, next one, please. Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Johnson. I am Yuli from EBC News. You were referred as a British Trump. You were
Is this the BBC?
No. EBC is from Taiwan.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Hi. No, it's
Right,
okay.
right.
So, and you were mistaken as Trump as well once in the street on the street of New York.
No.
So, you must know him better than we do. So,
Yeah.
two questions.
One question, please.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
Yeah,
one question.
we'll do one.
So besides hairstyle, what do you think you and Trump in common? And on his second term, what do you observe the difference on him?
Okay, now the third one. Yeah. Besides her.
Hi, Prime Minister. Allegra Mendelsohn, The Telegraph. Prime Minister Starmer recently said that the UK might be recognizing Palestine in September. Given that, do you think we could ever see the UK recognize Taiwan?
Okay, now the next one, please. Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Johnson. I'm a journalist from NNews TV in Taiwan. So I have a question that is, you mentioned that you gave up the idea of UK government trying to compete with Taiwan's in terms of that. So, but now President Trump now hoped TSMC to invest more and build a new semi-supply chain there. Is that a smart strategy to boost semi-industry overseas? Thank you.
Okay, and that'll be the end of the first round. Okay.
Hello, my name is Jan. I'm here freelance for the British Times newspaper.
For the what?
The Times.
The Times. Right.
You mentioned in your speech this morning the British policy of strategic ambiguity. I wanted to ask on two fronts, given your strong support for Ukraine and the fact perhaps that the lack of strategic clarity in terms of the backup behind Ukraine is what led to Russia's invasion of that country. And also given the fact that the American administration, Biden administration in the past has signaled that they would be willing to come to Taiwan's aid, whether given China's rising threats towards Taiwan, it's time perhaps for reconsidering of that British policy of strategic ambiguity, and whether, given that you are now no longer in office, you're able to speak more clearly about this topic.
Yeah, great. Well, what a bunch of great questions. Thank you very much. So first of all, on my things I've eaten, I think that was a question about
Din Tai Fung.
Hi, yeah, Din Tai Fung. I sampled a wide variety of dumplings and a very dense kind of suety, doughy sort of snowball type object, which was absolutely delicious. I hadn't described it very. The thing I want to eat. The question was, what do I want to try? I think the answer is the pineapple cake. I've been given a box of pineapple cake. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? I'm going to take a box of pineapple cake home to my home. Look, differences or similarities between me and any other politician, I leave it entirely to you. With your superior gift, imagination, adjectives to come up with. I think the differences between the Trump 45 and Trump 47. Look, I think that clearly this is an administration that is in America that is very focused on dancing with the people that brung them and delivering on their manifesto. And I think that there's a huge focus on actually doing what they said they were going to to do. And one of those horrifying things is people find it shocking, but what Donald Trump is trying to do in tackling illegal immigration and doing his tariff policy is actually what he said he was going. He said he was going. Allegra Mendelssohn asked a question about Taiwan, recognition of Taiwan compared to Palestine. And there clearly is there's an analogy. There are two areas that both have claims of one kind or other. I would say actually that the claim of Taiwan under the Montevideo Convention of 1933, the claim of Taiwan to be recognized by the British state is far more robust, because they actually have a recognized government, and they actually have boundaries that they control. They actually have a proper democratic system, none of which you could say about, with all due respect, none of which you could say about Palestine, least of all those parts that are currently governed by Hamas, right? So there's clearly a distinction there. But, as I said this morning, it's obvious from all my conversations here that that is not where the people of Taiwan are. And they don't actively seek to change unilaterally the status quo by getting recognition as an independent country. They're not asking for that. They're not even asking for that, right? They're asking for something much, much more modest. All they're asking for is the right to be left in peace as a free, democratic country and not bullied or coerced and not threatened with the imposition of rule by the Chinese Communist Party. That's all they're asking for. Not threatened with violence, by the way. So I would say that the claims of Taiwan, the actual, under the terms of normal conventions on recognition of states, the claims of Taiwan are far more robust, but the ambitions and requests of the people of Taiwan are extremely modest, and I think that needs also to be respected. And you asked, I think, somebody asked a question about semiconductors. Is that right? And what's happening with the US setting up a semiconductor fab in the United States? So Trump setting up a semiconductor. Did somebody ask that?
Yeah,
I think that's right. Look, as I said this morning, when I became Prime Minister in 2019, I was acutely conscious of this imperative for the UK to try to catch up in what was obviously the crucial industrial component of the 21st century, these really amazing semiconductors, these microprocessors. And as I said this morning, I said to my team in Number 10, I said, what would it cost to make a fab? What would it cost to make a fabrication plant? And they said about £9 billion. And I said, well, that's not a huge amount of money, but maybe it was worth doing anyway if we could somehow recover our technological edge in this area, because it's clearly so important. And then they said, well, actually, yes, we could do it, but it would take an awfully long time to set up, and then we might not even be able to produce chips, microprocessors of the same quality as Taiwan, because by the time we've taken to get the whole thing going, Taiwan would have improved. And so in the end, our best bet, I think, is to protect Taiwan and make sure that we have a strong relationship between the UK and Taiwan, and are able to import Taiwanese microprocessors. And because you guys are brilliant at it, and you have a world lead, and it's it's just simply astonishing fact. 95%, possibly even more, of the microprocessors needed for advanced AI, which is the most extraordinary cognitive advance of my lifetime. 95% of the chips you need for AI are made here, actually made here in Taiwan. And one of the many reasons why we should develop our relationship. And then John from the Times asked a question about strategic clarity and the fateful ambiguity before the invasion of Ukraine. It's a very, very good question, and it was spot on, because I do agree with you. One of the problems with Ukraine was that we were, and it's still a problem, we're still not willing to say that Ukraine should be part of NATO, right? We're still not being clear about the ultimate geostrategic destination, security destination of Ukraine. That is a problem. That is a fateful ambiguity. And actually, I think that if we'd been clear about it before 2022, and if the Americans had got their way in 2008, and if Ukraine had been part of NATO, as George Bush requested, then it is conceivable that that invasion by Putin would never have happened. So I think you're really onto something. But I think that the difficulty with the analogies are imperfect, right? Between Ukraine and Taiwan, there's not a direct read across, and what the crucial difference is, of course, that Ukraine is and had been a sovereign state since 1991, internationally recognized, not least by Russia and China and everybody else, right? Taiwan, as we've been discussing, is in a different case, different position. And despite having, as I say, so many of the seeming attributes of statehood and so many of the claims for international recognition, it is a measure of the modesty of the people of Taiwan that they don't even want that. They're not calling for that. They just want to protect the status quo. They just want to settle this problem in peace across the Straits of Taiwan. And so I think you're right in what you say about Ukraine, but the read across doesn't quite work, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you. We'll start with a second round, and first here, here, that, and then that, the 4 questions.
Shirley, I'm from CNA, and following on my peers,
CNA is a
Central
Taiwan
News Agency.
Oh, yes.
And following on my peers'
Is
question,
that a Chinese news agency?
No,
Central
News
Central
Agency
News, sorry, yeah.
about Taiwan.
Yeah, great.
and my question is this, and you mentioned that the analogy is not quite valid between Ukraine and Taiwan. However, and when is the time or what circumstances is for Taiwan to, or for the Western countries to adapt clarity in terms of cross-strait situation?
Okay, the next one. Yeah.
Prime Minister, I'm from SET TV, and I will ask, how do you plan to support Taiwan despite not in office, and what is your advice on how Taiwan should align our interest with UK to ensure shared interest and mature cooperation? Thank you.
Okay. The one behind.
Thank you. I'm Julie from Thai Southeast and a digital media outlet in Taiwan. Your term as Prime Minister overlapped in the part with President Trump in the first term. So now the world is facing tariff measures and authoritarian pressure. We couldn't get the kind of deals of the UK has that managed. And let's hope that President Trump might offer clear support on Indo-Pacific security. So do you have any advice for how the Taiwanese government can engage or communicate or negotiate with him in the future? And is there any way you can might be able to help us? Thank you.
Thank you. And then here's the last one. Yeah.
I'm so happy to see you. I'm Bill Lemers now. And there, I'm the journalist from the Next TV. And the question is, Taiwanese reciprocal tariffs on the U.S. is currently 20%. Are there any suggestions or negotiation tips you can share with Taiwan? Thank you.
What's that tariff? The tariff.
General tariff we're 20% and UK is about 10%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. So Central News Agency question about back to this analogy. Look, I think, as I've tried to say, I think that you've got to be careful not to press it too far. But there is clearly one point of comparison which is very, very important, because at the moment, officially, from Beijing, we are being told that Taiwan could be unified with communist China by force. Right? I think that's the express doctrine. And I think that we really need to pause and think what that could involve, because when you change the constitutional position unilaterally by force, which is what Putin tried to do in February 2022, you set off a chain of events that you cannot control. And that would be my message to everybody. Trying to use force in situations like this can lead to utter disaster, not just for the world, but for you too. You're firing, as I said earlier, a Sarajevo pistol, and you don't know where it's going to end. And in that sense, I think there is a clear analogy between the two situations. And look on what the UK and Taiwan should be doing together. We're two islands, island peoples, sharing the same geostrategic perspectives. Neither of us want to see a change in the balance of power in this part of the Asia-Pacific region. Neither of us want to see a change in the composition of the first island chain. Certainly not. Nor does the United States, by the way, in my view. We share economic ambitions, and I think we should do more. I was thrilled to see that we don't have diplomatic relations, formally so-called, but we have an office, and it's very busy, and things are picking up, and there is more and more work being done, and the volume of trade both ways is actually growing, which is a great thing. And as I said, I was thrilled to be. I'm going to get it wrong again. Din Tai Fung. I was thrilled to be at Din Tai Fung, where they had this unimaginable variety of dumplings, because I remembered that the guy who was there was somebody I'd actually met in London when I opened the first Din Tai Fung in London, and then there are now several. So I see strengthened economic partnership, and above all, I think that what must happen now is that the Western powers, the Europeans, must not tiptoe away from their engagement with Taiwan out of nervousness of offending China. Now is the time to show that we care. Now is the time to show that we believe in these values and that we're willing to stand together with Taiwan. Because the more emphatic we can be now about the need to protect freedom in Taiwan, the more misery, believe me, we can save later on. And I'm absolutely certain of that. And I think the next question was, what do we do? Somebody asked, rather flatteringly, what advice would I have to engage with Donald Trump? I mean, I think, I believe that the president is fundamentally a big supporter of Taiwan, and I think that he's in a position now where he's having to be a bit tactical rather than strategic, because he's trying to do a trade deal with China, as everybody knows, and that's why we're seeing some of this slightly puzzling events of the last few days. So I think fundamentally, Donald Trump is going to want to make sure that his presidency, I'm sure of this, his presidency is going to perpetuate a free, democratic Taiwan. And he certainly won't want to see that extinguished in his time. That's for what you do on the tariffs. Well, obviously, I think personally, I'm a free trader, right? I don't see why we're having these tariffs. I'm glad, by the way, that thanks to Brexit, hooray! Thanks to Brexit, we have low tariffs in the UK, or low tariffs being inflicted on the UK, much lower than the deal that we've got is actually much better than the EU deal. That, and in all seriousness, that would not have been achieved without Brexit. But as to how Taiwan can imitate that and achieve that, here's an idea. What Donald Trump likes is deals. Come up with a deal. That's what I'd say.
Thank you.
Give him a success.
I'll say that you're right earlier that Taiwan does not actively seek for the recognition, diplomatic recognitions, but we are really glad to receive any recognitions granted to us, as we are very much protective of our remaining recognitions because they're important to us. So I think that thank you very much. Thanks for the Prime Minister for giving his time. He has a plane to catch, so we have to excuse him for leaving. So thank you very much.
Excuse me for leaving. For leaving.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let's bring up.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. No, that's fine. Sorry.
You still have time?
Maybe we've exhausted the appetite of this. Does anybody have any questions left? There's quite a lot of people.
Okay.
So do three more.
There are three more. Okay.
The guy, John from the Times, we've done. Right?
Sure. 1, 2, and what's 3? Okay, there's 3. First one.
Thank you. I'm Calvin from Taiwan News. And do you see room for post-Brexit UK and EU coordination on Taiwan-related issues such as trade diversification or supply chain resilience?
Yes. I can answer that very briefly. Yes, I think, and I think that the EU is showing signs of really being much more muscular and engaged on Taiwan than it has been. I think it's a great sign.
Okay, the next one.
You previously said that fallout over Ukraine...
Could you identify yourself, please?
Sorry. Allegra Mendelsohn, The Telegraph.
Oh, hang on, Allegra. We've had you before.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody else?
I think anyone who did not ask question? Okay. Yes.
Mr. Johnson, my name is Walter Liu for Business Today, a major business publication in Taiwan. My question is, after the recent NATO summit, major European countries, like including UK, France, Germany, are preparing to burden more of the EU collective defense demand. But I think should any contingencies take place in this part of the world, it should be logical that European countries are unlikely to do anything about it militarily. So in that case, how we in Taiwan should look at the Carrier Strike Force 25 underway, or the aka Operation High Mast of the Royal Navy now in East Asia. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just answer that, and then let's knock this on the head. So I think it's very, very important that everybody in NATO, and that includes almost everybody in the EU, except Ireland, I think. Everybody in NATO should be spending more on defence, and the UK is now at last going up to where I wanted it to be, nearer to 3%, but it's got to go fast. And I'm very glad that Taiwan is also going up to 3% of GDP spending on defence. That's essential. I think that I'm a believer in what we call the Indo-Pacific tilt when we did the Strategic Defence Review in 2021. I think that the UK, other European countries have a great deal to contribute in this part of the world, and it's one of the reasons why we had the Carrier Strike Group and FONOPS operations and so on and so forth. I know that there are some voices in Washington who basically say leave it all to the United States. I don't think that's I think we should do it together. And I think what John Healey, the UK Defence Secretary, had to say the other day was bang on. The UK, Australia, America, these are countries that have worked together side by side for decades and decades on problems like this, and I'm sure we will do in the future. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks everyone.
And this way, yeah, please.
Thank you. 首先，我要代表台湾人民热烈欢迎强生前首相首次访问台湾，并担任凯达格兰论坛的专题演讲人。稍早，我们一起出席论坛的开幕式，很高兴能够在总统府进一步的见面交流。强生前首相是继柴契尔夫人以及特拉斯女士后第3位访问台湾的英国前首相，相信强生前首相来到台湾访问，必定能够促进台湾和英国未来更进一步的交流。借这个难得的机会，我要感谢强生前首相和英国政府，在2021年领导英国政府担任7大工业国集团轮值主席时，在 G7 领袖峰会联合公报上，首度提及台海和平与稳定的重要性。自此以后，英国在众多双边与多边场域上，均一致重申维护台海现状的坚定立场，持续凝聚国际社会对台湾的支持。今年6月，英国皇家海军巡逻舰史佩号通过台湾海峡，以具体的行动捍卫台海的航行自由。随后，英国政府发布了国家安全战略，也指出台海在全球贸易与供应链具核心地位，英国不支持任何单方面改变现状的企图，并将在共享民主价值的基础上，持续深化与台湾在各领域的合作关系。英国政府从强生前首相开始的这些行动，对印太安全提供了非常具体化的贡献。近年来，台英经贸关系也持续创下新的里程碑。2023年，台英签署了提升贸易伙伴关系协定 （ETP）。今年6月，双方进一步针对投资、数位贸易以及能源与净零排放等领域，再签署3项资助协议，展现双方强化经贸合作的决心。台湾和英国共享自由、民主与人权的普世价值。台湾衷心希望在未来能够跟英国加强合作，创造台湾和英国双赢，也对国际社会做出贡献。最后，再一次欢迎强生前首相来到台湾访问，也祝福前首相这一次的访问圆满成功，对台湾留下一个非常美好的印象。
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, President Lai. It's a great honor to be here with you in Taiwan today. And thank you for your very kind invitation. Do I need to be interpreted?
Yes.
Come on.
谢谢赖总统，今天非常荣幸能够来到台湾，也非常感谢您的这个热情邀约。
This is an absolutely crucial time for the whole world, a time of great uncertainty. And Taiwan is, as President Lai was saying earlier today, at the very forefront, at the critical point in the struggle between freedom and democracy on one side and autocracy on the other side.
现在全世界面临一个非常关键的时间点，面对未来很大的不确定性。如同赖总统稍早所说的，台湾是站在自由、民主以及威权对抗的前线。
And I'm here partly because I've always wanted to come to Taiwan, and I'm fascinated by the achievements of this incredible country, not least in microprocessors and your cuisine, which I sampled last night, a huge variety of dumplings. And I congratulate you, Mr. President, on your agenda for Taiwan.
我本次来到台湾，其中一点是因为我一直都很想来台湾。我认为台湾是一个有杰出的成就的国家，那有非常棒的美食我昨天晚上也享用了很多不同种类的水饺。那我也要恭喜赖总统的杰出的领导力。
And I fully support what you said about the 5 trusted sectors. I fully support what you said about the need to. We all need to spend more on defense. And you're going up to 3%, I understood, from what you said. That is absolutely right.
我也非常支持赖总统所提出的5大信赖产业，我也同意赖总统所说，我们都应该要加强国防的预算。那么台湾已经提升到3%的 GDP， 我觉得这个做得非常对。
And I want you to know that we in the UK, or certainly I'm now a private citizen, but I think there is absolutely no case for the current Chinese bullying of Taiwan. This is a free, peaceful society. It does not deserve to be intimidated in this way. There is no point in it, and I hope it stops as soon as possible.
那在英国，还有包括我这个公民的身份，我们都认为现在中国这样子对台湾霸凌的行为，不应该持续下去，因为台湾是一个自由和平的社会，不值得被这样的对待。我认为这个霸凌应该要即刻停止。
But talking to you, Mr. President, talking to Taiwanese people over the last couple of days, it is absolutely clear to me that those who try to bully Taiwan, those who want to take over Taiwan, will never succeed. Because this is an amazing democracy where you are lovers of your own freedom.
在过去2天跟赖总统还有跟台湾人民的谈话，让我清楚的了解到，任何对台湾霸凌的行为，想要掌控台湾的行为都不会成功，因为台湾是一个卓越的民主自由社会，人民热爱自己的民主自由。
And in very difficult and tense times, this is the moment for all Western countries to build relations, economic, political relations with Taiwan, not to tiptoe away from Taiwan under pressure from any other country.
在这个困难而且紧张的时刻，所有的西方国家应该要与台湾来强化经济还有政治的关系，而不应该因为其他国家的压力而因此远离台湾。
And I want you to know finally that we in the UK will stand with you in Taiwan, not just because we share common strategic perspectives, not just because we have a growing economic partnership. The trade between us is actually growing quite fast at the moment, but most important of all, because we share values, as you have just said, Mr. President.
最后呢，我想要说，英国会持续的与台湾站在一起，不只是因为我们有共同的战略目标，也不只是因为我们的双边经贸蓬勃的发展，更重要的是因为，如同赖总统所说，我们双边有共享的价值。
And those values of democracy, human rights, and freedom are not only, I think, essential to Taiwan's astounding success, but they are also right in themselves. We should defend them for their own sake.
民主、人权、自由等价值不仅仅是为台湾带来成功，而这些价值本身就有其存在的必要，所以我们一定要捍卫这些价值。
And I thank you all very much for your kind invitation and for having me to Taiwan today. It's been a memorable visit. 谢谢 Thank you.
谢谢各位这个盛情邀请我来到台湾，这是我非常难忘的一趟旅程。谢谢。
偷偷告诉大家，我最近发现了新法宝 Royal Face 逆时奇迹系列，它有活肤露、全效精华，还有精华霜。尤其我皮肤比较偏干，所以我非常的注重保湿。保湿做得好，肌肤自然烹润。 提亮肤色更年轻，抚平皱纹超有感，而且气色变好，用心保养，每天都更美一点。美吧。